So shall we start? The audio and video clear, right? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today's class is all about independent system. Okay? Yesterday we have been discussing about power system restructuring across the globe. We have seen US markets, we have seen European markets, and there are two types of things. Even in European markets also, we have gone through UK markets and Nordic markets. There are different types of markets which are there. One is a full core model, and the other one is a bilateral contract model. And apart from that, there is a combination of these two, which is called as a hybrid model, right? So this is what we have discussed in the yesterday's class. US started restructuring way back 60 years back. Next, UK started. Next, every part of every country of Europe has also started restructuring their electricity system. They have divided their horizontal utility into vertical utilities, generation, transmission, and distribution. They have encouraged more participation here and here. And there was a very good trading between these two things, distribution sector and generation sector. That's what we have been discussing so far in the past. Now we will move ahead. And today's lecture, we will discuss about independent system operator. What is the role of independent system operator? That we will discuss today. So our objective for today is to understand what is the role of independent system operator. So in today's class, we will learn about what are the objectives of ISO. We call this guy as independent system operator as ISO. So we will learn something about objectives of ISO and what are the rules and regulations, what we call them as principles of independent system operator, and ancillary services offered by ISO. So we will look at the objectives, the principles, or what we call it as services, and additional services, ancillary services or additional services, and other things. Normally he handles some other jobs also in power system. So we will also see what are the other services. Just like constraints. There will be some constraints in the power systems, you know that, and how he handles the constraints. So we will see what is the job of ISO, independent system operator, in power system. Okay. I will start with an introduction to ISO, and we will move on to objectives, principles, ancillary services, and the handling of constraints and emergency conditions by the ISO. Okay. So ISO means independent system operator. So what does this acronym actually say? Independent system operator. So independent means he is having an autonomy. He is having an autonomy from his key stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in electricity system, the generating companies, the transmission companies, the distribution companies, the consumers, all these are all stakeholders. So this guy is having autonomy when compared to his key stakeholders. So that's why I have mentioned here independent. And system means, in our words, it is electricity system. It is electricity system. In particular, electricity transmission system. And operator means handling of operations. He handles multiple operations. That's why we have mentioned him as operator. So an ISO is basically an autonomic body who handles the electricity transmission service, or what all the operations are there in the electricity transmission system. This is the acronym of ISO, what it actually means, independent system operator. Moving ahead, what is the basic purpose of ISO? We have discussed so far in our last week also. What is the basic purpose of ISO? We have seen pool markets, right? Let me write pool markets. Okay. First of all, let me write, there are different these guys, they can enter into the pool code. So here what will be done? The bids will be collected, and finally the schedule will be finalized, isn't it? Who is supposed to supply, who is supposed to get the electricity, at what cost and at what time and what amount. So this job will be done by independent system operator. So once he finalizes the bid and scheduling, what he gives, he also gives instructions. He also instructs the transport or the transmission companies to handle the schedule. So he will take care of the bid, he will finalize the schedule, and he will also instruct the transmission operator to deliver the power from here to here based upon the finalized schedule. On the other hand, you can have bilateral contracts between these guys also. So these are called as bilateral contracts, isn't it? Bilateral contracts are made between generation company and distribution company. Now, here also ISO will be there. He will not do this because the scheduling and everything prices, they will be in this bilateral contract only. So what he does, he just offers transmission services. Here he offers only transmission services. Here he offers transmission services and also he finalizes the bid and schedule. So in either of the cases, whether it is a pool co model or a bilateral contracts model, there is a need for independent system operator. And what is his job? Fair and undiscriminatory. His job is to provide fair and undiscriminatory access to transmission service. Isn't it? This is the thing. So the first and foremost purpose of ISO is fair and undiscriminatory access to transmission services. Isn't it? At the same time, he must maintain a record of, he must maintain a record of what is the power which is flowing in the transmission line. He must maintain a record, isn't it? He must maintain a record or real-time operation of power system. So what will be there in this one? Transmission line loadings will be there and availability will be there. So all this he needs to maintain, because in order to further allocate the transmission line, must maintain these things, isn't it? And also, we must offer ancillary services. Why do ancillary services are required? Why do we require them? Because we always promise our customers that we will provide reliable electricity. For reliability point of view, we must also offer ancillary services. Ancillary services are offered in order to facilitate reliability requirements. Day before yesterday, one of our student friends told reliability means, let us suppose the voltage must be maintained constant. There must be no spikes. I must get sufficient amount of reactive power. So all these are all ancillary services, which should be provided by the ISO. So this is the main purpose of ISO. Okay. I hope now you have got a good idea about what an ISO is. ISO will do the job of these things in a pool co, whereas in this case, he doesn't bother about the price, he doesn't bother about the scheduling. What he does is, he offers only transmission services to the parties which are involved in bilateral cooperation. Now, having studied all these things, now we will write a list of objectives of ISO. Okay. Once again, I want to mention to you guys, ISO job is not rescheduling generation. ISO job is not dispatching generation. He just finalizes the bits and just gives the schedule. Okay. Generation chestada cheyada anedi vaadi choice. It is a choice of the generation unit. ISO will only finalize the bits and finalizes the schedule. Okay. Don't feel that he governs these guys. These people are independent. They can generate their own power, and they can offer what is the amount of power which they can generate and at what cost. And this guy, he finalizes the thing. Okay. All the participants are independent participants with us. ISO will not exert any pressure on anyone. He is just a neutral body. That's it. So now, let's have a quick look about the objectives. What are the objectives of ISO? So what are the main major objectives of ISO beta? He must match electricity supply with the demand. This is what he is supposed to do. He must match electricity supply with demand and ensure reliability. This is called as continuity, this is called as reliability. These are the two promises which we make to our consumers. So he must match electricity supply with demand to ensure reliability. If it is not met, he can instruct some other generating unit. He can instruct, he will not order. He will instruct some other generating unit. So in that case, I can write it as he will. Okay, I will not use control. I will use the word instruct. He will instruct generation units. He will instruct generation units to generate additional power if needed. ensure reliability. You might get a doubt that why additional power, sir? Why there is a need of additional power? This I will explain it to you. Let us suppose there is some G1 and some G2 and there is some customer C1. Okay. And based upon the pool code, ISO has finalized that this guy is supposed to deliver 100 megawatts to C. But you know that in a transmission system, what will happen in a transmission system? The efficiency is somewhere around 70 to 80%. So even though he delivers 100 megawatts, he will get only 80 megawatts. But in anywhere in business, what you should do? You are supposed to satisfy the customer. And what he has asked for 100 megawatts. But what he has supplied 100 megawatts. But literally what he is getting 80 megawatts. So you need to provide 20 megawatts. Let us suppose his capacity has exhausted. So it is a duty of independent system operator to instruct these guys to provide this additional 20 megawatts to meet his demand. Have you understood? This is the meaning of this one. Instruct the generation unit to generate additional power to ensure reliability to the customer. Okay. This job is one of the ancillary services which will be taken up by this guy. Okay. So this is also will be done by ISO. And what is another thing which we have mentioned in the last on the last page? We must ensure. Ensuring is done, right, between supply and the demand. So what he must do, he must evaluate. What he must evaluate? The transmission capacity. Time to time. He must evaluate transmission capacity time to time. And based upon this, what he will do? He will approve or deny request. Let us suppose there is a bilateral contract between these two guys. So they will immediately ask this guy to provide access to this transmission. So based upon his capacity, he will either approve the request or deny the request. So for that, what he should know? He should know which transmission lines are available and what is the capacity and what is the loading on them. Is there any availability pending? Is there any remaining capability which these transmission can be done? So to do all these things, you must evaluate a transmission capacity time to time so that he can approve or deny request. And keeping all these things in view, the most important thing is he must take all additional steps which are supposed to be taken and make sure that system frequency is properly maintained. You know that any deviation in the generation or demand or transmission, immediately what will happen? The system frequency will be falling, right? Whatever the jobs you do, make sure that the system frequency is not deviated. Okay, because if this happens, what will it lead to? It will lead to instability of the system. So ensure that the system frequency is maintained constant in order to ensure stability of the system. Okay, so this is the job of independent system operator. These are the objectives. Okay, so match electricity supply with the demand, instruct the generating units to provide additional power to ensure continuity and reliability, evaluate transmission capacity, approve or deny request for any transmission line, ensure system frequency is maintained constant so that the system is in stable condition. So these are the objectives of independent system operator. But having said that, now you have come to know the entire heart of the transmission system is this guy, independent system operator. He is supposed to do all these jobs. So since he is very important, there are certain rules and regulations which are laid by in our country we do have a central power authority, but one of the first countries which has undergone restructuring is US, which I have told you, right? In USA, when the restructuring was happening, you know that Electricity Commission in USA is called as FERC. FERC, Federal Electricity Regulatory Commission, FERC. And there is another one called as DOE, Department of Energy. But the rules and regulations are taken up by FERC. In our country also we do have CERC, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. But we have restructured in the recent only, the past 25 years. But these guys, they have started this concept of ISO and restructuring many years back. So FERC, which is one of the standard regulatory commissions across the globe, which is of USA, they have defined some principles for the independent system operator. And they have defined 11 principles which have to be followed by independent system operator. Even this 11 principles, which have been developed by FERC. This is US statutory body. These are still being followed across the globe. These are the guidelines for independent system operator. So what are the 11 principles which are laid by FERC? We'll have a quick look on that. Okay. So I will write them in short. I won't write them in detail. I will write them in short now. First thing is fair governance. Whoever the ISO is, he must practice fair governance. You know the meaning of fair governance, right? No impartiality or any other thing. It is called as fair governance. And second thing is no financial interest in any of the participants. No financial interest in any of the market participants. Independent system operator ga act చేసేవాడికి ఎటువంటి జనరేషన్ కానీ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ కంపెనీస్ కానీ ఉండడానికి వీలు లేదు. Because if they own, then there is a chance for commercial acting, right? And then there won't be any fair governance. So that's why the FERC has mandated that the person who is acting as ISO or the company who is going to act as ISO, he must not have any financial interest in any of the market participants. Okay. And the third thing, provide open access. Provide open access to the transmission network. Whoever wants to access the transmission network, you are supposed to provide based upon his request. Whoever is eligible. For all eligible users, I will write it down this time. For all eligible users, whoever is eligible, you should provide open access to the transmission system. That is the rule. Open access. Okay. And it is a duty of reliability. So at least if any small thing happens for a shorter duration, the ISO must take care of the power system reliability. He must take care of the responsibility of ensuring short-term reliability of the entire grid operation. This is his job. And he must have control of transmission network, not only in his area, but also in intra areas also. Even in our country also, there are grids, right? Southern grid, northern grid, etc., etc. So grid connecting lines also. So what I will name it as intra-transmission network. So he must have control over the operation of intra-transmission network. What we call it as interconnected transmission system, right? In our country. So he must have control over the interconnected transmission system. And he must be able to identify constraints. Sometimes what happens is, because of some cyclones or thunderstorms or whatever it might be, sometimes the transmission lines will be going down. Sometimes there will be heavy demand. Sometimes there will be large number of requests for the transmission. There will be different constraints in the system. So ISO must identify the constraints. ISO must identify the constraints and relieve those constraints effectively. So this job also is to be done by ISO. And the most important thing, which we people like, and of all these market participants, you have seen so much in generating companies, so many service-oriented companies, so many distribution companies, so many customers. So provide incentives for those who have efficient administration or management. This is the important thing. Whoever works very good, you are supposed to provide him incentive. You are supposed to encourage. So this is the job of ISO. And we must make policies such that the three key areas of power system. What are the three key areas? Generation, transmission, and distribution do work efficiently. Do work efficiently. In the sense, the investments, whatever that happen in these things, they must be very efficient in nature. So they must promote the efficient use of and also investing in generation, transmission, and consumption. And coming to the end, I have already said that they must provide open access to the transmission network. So for this one, they have already stated one more point here, that all data must be made, whatever the transmission data, whatever the constraints, etc., what they have got, all data must be made available openly. Then only we can think about accountability, isn't it? So any transmission system information, not the bit width, only transmission system information should be made publicly available. Should be made publicly available on time-to-time basis, on regular basis. It's not that you disclose information after 10 years or 15 years, on regular basis. Through print media or whatever things which you can have, through electronic system if you do have, or media or print, whatever it may be. So all information must be made open. It must be publicly available. And yesterday when we were discussing about US markets, I told you, right, there are 50 states. And all the 50 states, they have nearly 14 to 15 independent system operators. So ISO must coordinate with nearby or neighboring ISOs also. Every ISO must cooperate coordinate with neighboring IC, whatever the activities are there. One control area basically will be controlled by IC. Similarly, another control area will be controlled by this IC. So they must coordinate their activities. Last 11th ADR process. ADR process is to be maintained because most of the times what happens is when a person or a company, when he handles so many number of things, when so many participants are involved in this business, so automatically there will be disputes, isn't it? So that's why it is the job of independent system operator to provide alternative dispute resolution. ADR stands for alternative dispute resolution. So ISO must maintain ADR in order to solve the dispute, to resolve the dispute. This is the 11 principles which are developed by Federal Electricity Regulatory Commission for the independent system operator. So based upon this, the ISO must work. And I told you very clearly, ISO can take two forms, madam. What are the two forms ISO can take? ISO forms. How many forms are there? He can have in pool co-market. In pool co-market, what he does? He will finalize the bids, he will finalize the scheduling, and he will finalize the transmission services, isn't it? Whereas in bilateral contract model, what he does? He does only transmission. He accepts or denies request, and based upon his capability, he will allow transmission service. Whereas in pool co model, his job is very big, isn't it? So either you can choose this model or you can choose this model. ISO can be of two forms. This is first structure, this is second structure. So these are the two structures of ISO. So he has to follow all these principles, and he can be of either this form or this form based upon the market structure. This will be defined, this will be based upon the country's acceptance, whether they will accept pool co model or bilateral contracts model. In USA, in some parts there is pool co model, in some parts it is bilateral contracts model. We have told you, right? Yesterday I think I told you. In UK, it is pool co model. In Europe, in Nordic pool, it is bilateral contract. In USA, I told you, there are nearly 14 independent system operators. I think the New York model, what we call it as PJM interconnection, the PJM ISO, who is basically of New York, he is of pool co model. Whereas this Midwest, this California side, they are of bilateral contract. So like this, ISO can take either pool co model form or bilateral contract model. In pool co, he will be doing all these jobs. In bilateral contract, he will be only limited to transmission networks. I hope you have now understood what is the role of ISO and what are the principles and objectives of ISO. And now, we'll have a quick look of the ancillary services. I have told you, right, guys, that he will be looking after the transmission line and he will give permission to different requests. So apart from this, what are the ancillary services which should be you imagine you are a power system engineer, right? So what are the things which he is supposed to do? So he defaultly does the scheduling. I will write the first thing: scheduling, dispatch, and the control. Right? This is the primary job. which he does. So apart from this, what are the services? Now we will list out the services. What are the things which are required? One is reactive power, right? You know it very well. Reactive power control is required. Reactive power. And you are supposed to maintain voltage profile also, right? So reactive power and voltage profile both are interlinked. So I have mentioned the same thing. And frequency regulation. This is to ensure stability of the system. The regulation and frequency response services. Apart from this, energy imbalance. I have told you in an example. Because of the poor efficiency, you should go with energy imbalance. You have to handle energy imbalance also. And let us suppose if there is a sudden requirement, you should operate reserves. You know, operating reserve, spinning reserve. I think you know in your PS1, right? Operating reserve, spinning reserve, supplemental reserves. Suppose suddenly the person comes that he needs some 250 megawatts of power suddenly. And if no generator is ready, you should have some access to some reserves so that you can handle them. So this is an additional thing which an ISO can offer. So reserves, ISO must maintain reserves. It necessarily doesn't involve these things into regular practice, but these reserves can be some generating units. So he can request some generating unit that to provide power to the customer. And lastly, transmission congestion. This is the most important problem in transmission services. Number of requests come day by day. The transmission lines are so limited that you can't cater for the demand. So always there is a congestion, transmission traffic, what we call it. So you are supposed to mitigate or handle it properly. So these 2 to 5, 2 to 6 are the ancillary services. Apart from 1 is your basic service. These are the services which are to be done by independent system operator. These are also, these list of 6 ancillary operations are also designed by FERC. So, apart from that, you know one more thing what ISO does? ISO also settles the bill better. He collects money from the consumer, from the buyer, and he will finalize the money to the generating unit, to the seller for purchase. So this job will be done by ISO. So he settles the bill, and he looks after all the accounts, accounting procedures, etc., etc. All the things he will be handling, and everything will be placed in open. So these are the ancillary services which will be provided by ISO. And additionally, what I have told you, there will be some constraints in the power system, and mostly there will be transmission constraints. So, irrespective of whether it is POOLCO model or bilateral model, independent system operator or ISO must handle transmission services effectively. And while handling transmission services, in POOLCO model, what is his job? Bidding, finalizing schedule, and next offering transmission services, right? In bilateral contracts model, only transmission services. So for handling transmission services, for offering transmission service, he will collect money. Here, he will collect money from customers for transmission services and also for buying electricity also. So both the costs he will finalize. So he will give some money to the transmission services and give some money to the seller. And the rest, it will be taken up by the site. Here in bilateral contracts model, he will collect money only for the transmission services. So he will deduct some percentage and the rest will be given to the transmission service provider. Why we should use, why some part of money will be taken up by the ISO? Because he is doing a lot of jobs, right? He is taking up these ancillary services. So if you take ancillary services, you are supposed to pay additional amount. So all these billings and procedures, they will be done in a systematic way. And all these economic activities will be sent, the information will be shared to all the participants of the match. And everything will be done in fair way. And one more thing which I want to mention here, reserves. Why should we go with the reserves? There will be some sort of emergency conditions which do happen all the time in the past. You know these emergency conditions. Now, I will show you an example of these emergency conditions. For these emergency conditions. Now, let us suppose now C1 is an emergency customer who must receive a continuous supply, without which there will be a problem with C1. Now, based upon this Poolco model, let us suppose this is a Poolco model. Okay. So G1 has been assigned to provide power to the C1, some 100 megawatts, through some transmission line T1. But suddenly, let us suppose T1 was short circuited because of some fault, because of some natural disaster or something like that. Now there is another transmission line T2, but it is not connected to G1, but it is connected to G2. So what he should do? This ISO must immediately instruct this guy to provide additional power so that he can meet customer, because there was a case of emergency. This is the way ISO must do. Or he must instruct some reserve candidate R1 to provide power to this guy. This is the way how emergency conditions are to be handled by ISO. ISO has the capability to instruct any of these generating companies or the reserve companies, either to increase the generation or decrease the generation. Or he can ask these guys also, either to increase the load or decrease the load, even after scheduling, based upon the requirement, based upon the emergency service. Okay. So let us suppose if there is some transmission line breakdown, then automatically he can't provide this power. No? So he will ask, okay, he will ask this guy, please reduce your power so that I can transfer part of this power to this. So when he accepts the offer made by ISO, so he will give some sort of incentive to him. So this ISO can handle any of these buyers or sellers. Okay. Apart from this, what he does, you know that ISO now, he handles emergency services, handles constraints, he takes care of reactive power, voltage profile, stability of the system, frequency, and he handles accounts, financial matters. Everything will be done by ISO. Okay, independent system operation. Okay, so these are the jobs which will be done. These are the official ancillary services. This is transmission constraints which I have mentioned. This is emergency services, and these are the additional things: the billing, settling, metering, bookkeeping, etc. All these jobs will be done by ISO. Okay. So now the transmission system is, how the transmission system will be, guys? Not very well. This will be just like a mesh, right? This will be just like a mesh. Transmission network will be like this. It won't be like this, just like straight lines. It will be just like a mesh. So these are called as nodes. You know that in power system and etc. These are called as nodes: N1, N2, N3, N4, etc. etc. ISO must maintain what is the voltage, what is the power injection, what is the reactive power injection, what is the active power injection, what is the voltage, what is the angle. We have seen in PSOC, right? So all the node data he must maintain. See, what is the job of ISO? So much job he has got. He is supposed to maintain all the technical things. He is supposed to maintain all the financial things. and he's supposed to take up the request from all the guys. So what is the conclusion for today? An independent system operator is the heart of power, the heart of restructured power system. And he maintains balance of the grid. He controls the dispatch of the generation. He ensures that the loads, what does he ensure? He ensures that the loads are being met. And most importantly, he is a neutral guy and he is an independent guy. Okay. So now, after listening to all these things, so now you have, I hope now you have understood that this guy is an important, independent system operator is very important in power system markets, in restructured power systems. And what you have learned so far, what is the objective? Sorry, what is the outcome of the class? You have learned, guys, so far. So what we have learned so far? We are now able to list out principles, the objectives of ISO, isn't it? We have taken up 3 or 4 objectives of ISO. We have taken up 11 principles of ISO. And also what we can list, you can also list the ancillary services. How many ancillary services are officially listed by FERC? 6 ancillary services, 11 principles, isn't it? And I hope you can explain me why ISO is important. Why ISO is important in restructured power, isn't it? So these 2 questions are asked in weekly assignments. You can go through the assignments, you can answer these things. In tomorrow's class, we will discuss about marketing, electricity market. Now, so far we have been discussing only about the participants, isn't it? ISO is also a participant in the market, an independent operator in the market. Now, actually, we will see what actually a market is in tomorrow's class. Okay? So that's it for today. And I'm open for the discussion.